Hey, what's going on today, YouTube? It's me, Shotting Gun Gameplays, and for today's episode, I am finally doing the deck breakdown of the meta Yusei Fudo deck. Now, about 4 or 5 days ago, I released a teaser video of what this deck can do. You guys gave it really good reviews. You guys said that you really liked the video, so here I am giving you the full deck breakdown. Now, this deck has a bunch of special summoning. A lot of you said that Nibiru would be a problem. I actually built this deck to be able to special summon around Nibiru, so yeah, that's pretty exciting. So first off, we're going to start with 2 Jet Synchrons. This guy is going to be one of our main combo extenders. If I could use him as a junk material, synchro material, which usually I will, you're always going to use junk synchron. You get to get 1 junk card from your deck to your hand, or junk monster, for free. And then it also has the effect of being able to tribute a monster from your hand, and you can special summon it from your graveyard for even more synchro materials. So next we're going to go into 3 Doppel Warriors. This guy is absolutely ridiculous. So he has the effect where if I can use him as a synchro material, I can special summon 2 Doppel Warrior level 1 tokens. That's free synchro fodder. This is going to allow me to go into my level 2 synchros, which I'll get into later. The interactions with this deck are just absolutely ridiculous. And then he has the added effect where if I can special summon a monster from the graveyard, I can special summon him from my hand. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. So next we're going to go on to 2 Maxis. I've actually found a pretty cool interaction with Maxi and Junk Synchron. You can actually discard the Maxi from your hand and then normal summon the Junk Synchron, special summoning the Maxi from your graveyard, which will in turn give you a free level 5, and then on top of that, if you have Doppel Warrior in your hand, you could special summon Doppel Warrior using its graveyard effect, which is absolutely ridiculous. So next we're going to go on to 2 Caligo Claw Crows. This is just another special summon. If I have a dark monster on my field, I can special summon it from my hand, giving me more synchro power. So next we're going to go on to 3 Junk Converter. This card is absolutely ridiculous. I can discard this card and a tuner. I can add any synchron monster from my deck to my hand. Then if I use this card as synchro material, I can special summon 1 tuner monster in my graveyard. It doesn't just say a level this, what that, it just says a tuner monster. Any of my tuner cards can be special summoned using Junk Converter, which is an absolutely ridiculous combo extender. So next we're going on to 3 Junk Synchrons. Like I said, this card actually has a very cool interaction with Maxi that I'm going to be showing you guys in the replay. So I hope you guys enjoy that. It's pretty cool. So now we're going to go on to Fire Ant Exactor. I don't know how to say it. Don't even ask me. Usually we're not going to be using this card because we have the Exactor Dawnwalker, which allows us to special summon the Fire Ant from our deck for free. So we have one of these little guys. We're going to 2 Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs for our draw negates. We're going to go 1 Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion for our graveyard negate. Very, very good. We're going on to our Stardust Synchron. Our Stardust Synchron allows us to get our Stardust Illumination from our deck to our hand when he's special summoned. And then on top of that, I can tribute 1 monster to special summon this card from the graveyard, which will bring us to our next card, Stardust Trail. Using Stardust Illumination, I'll discard my Stardust Trail. Then from there, I'll use my Stardust Synchron as a synchro summon. Usually I'll go into TG Hyper Librarian using my Stardust Synchron. Then I'll activate Stardust Synchron's effect, tribute a card that I don't need, special summon my Stardust Synchron, which will allow me to use my Stardust Trail. It's a free level 8 or 9 depending on what you have on your field. Hell, it can even be a free Baron, which you probably won't need because that is going to come for a special combo later in the video. So next we're going to go into 3 Escatter? Is that how you say it? Escatter Dawnwalkers. Like I said, this will allow us to summon our Fire Ant from our deck, giving us another free level 8. So next we're going into Mermare. Our Mermare is going to be special summoned from our deck using our Yazi if our opponent goes first. So Mermare is just an excellent combo extender. I can reduce this card's level by 1 and then special summon a token that isn't a tuner, which in turn is even more synchro power. So next we're going to go into Card Destruction. This card is very good because most of my cards have graveyard effects, and it has the added bonus of fucking over my opponent if I know they have a good hand. Because if they activate Ash Blossom, that means that they're trying to protect their hand. They're trying to stop me from being able to hand loop them, let's say with something as Cyframe Lord Omega, or setting up my Omni Negates. They have their combo extenders just like every deck does. But it has the added bonus of being able to stop them from using Imperm. If you can open up on card destruction and you know that you have a bunch of like graveyard effects, activate your card destruction. If you can get Nibiru, Imperm, Crossout Designator, Raigeki, Harpy's Feather Duster, there's so many good cards that you can like literally fuck off your opponent with, because usually the 5 opening cards are the most important cards you're ever going to have, because obviously those are the cards you have to start with. So if you can fuck over your opponent's first hand, let's say if they have a going second hand, you fuck up their hand so bad, usually they'll just leave if card destruction is played. Let's just say there's a reason why card destruction is at 1, and it's mostly because of my graveyard effects, because of decks like this. If they were to have card destruction at 3, dude, it would be literal hell. But anyways, we're going to be moving on to Monster Reborn. Usually I'm going to use my Monster Reborn to either get my Baron Deflower. I did not mean to take that out of my deck. Hold on. Okay, usually I'm going to be using my Monster Reborn to either target our Baron Deflower or target our TG Hyper Librarian. More than likely, I'm always going to target TG Hyper Librarian, simply for the fact of that draw power is just amazing. This deck is nothing but synchro cards. You're always going to be synchro summoning, which means you always have draw power. So next, we're going to go under 1 Reinforcement of the Army. This allows us to go into any single one of our warrior cards in this deck. Our deck is predominantly warrior monsters. It ties very well. You can search Doppel Warrior. You can search your little junk dude over here, our junk converter. You can hell even search your junk synchron. Like, Reinforcements of the Army is a very good search card. So next, we're going to go on to the best search card that's ever released. Tuning. You can add 1 tuner synchron monster from your deck to your hand and then send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. The reason why this is so good is because I have these level 2s in my deck. I can always search junk synchron with tuning, and if I can get rid of a level 2 from the top of my deck, that's literally a 2 free summon, which will allow me to go into any level 5 that I have. It's absolutely ridiculous. Tuning is such a busted card, and it does not need to be a 3. So next we're going our Stardust Illumination. This is the card that's searchable off of our Synchron Dragon, or our Stardust Synchron, I mean. This card allows me to be able to summon the Stardust Trail to the, or not summon it, fuck. This card allows me to be able to send my Stardust Trail to the graveyard, activating her effects, which just means more synchro summoning. So next we're going to go into Synchron Overtake. This allows me to special summon Junk Synchron straight from my deck if I need it, using our Junk Warrior. I reveal the Junk Warrior, it special summons actually Junk Synchron from either the graveyard or the deck, which is kind of fucking busted. So next we're going to Called by the Graves. This is our graveyard effect negate. This is going to stop your opponent from maxing you, ash blossoming you, Nibiruing you, anything like that. It's very good. More than likely, if they're running Nibiru, they're going to have 3 Nibirus. So if you can use your hand destruction to get rid of one of their Nibirus that's possibly in their hand, they activate Nibiru, you activate Called by the Grave. Literally, Nibiru is nothing to worry about in this fucking deck. I built this deck to be able to play and combo around Nibiru itself, like, which is absolutely ridiculous. So next, we're going to move on to Crossout Designator. This is obviously any card in my deck that I think they have, which more than likely all decks are going to run Maxi, Ash Blossom, Imperm, things like that. You can use your Crossout Designator to negate that effect. So next we're going on to Infinite Impermanence. This is for our Monster Negate and Column Spell Trap Negate. I can't tell you how many times I've set Infinite Impermanence on the field, activated it, negated their monster effect, and they forgot that the column was locked and they can't activate Spell or Trap cards in that column, and their Spell or Trap cards ends up getting negated and they end up surrendering. A lot of people truly forget that second part of Infinite Impermanence's effect, which is kind of ridiculous. So next we're going to be moving on to our extra deck. We're going to start off with Celestial Double Star Shaman. This allows me to special summon up to 4 level 2 non-tuner monsters from my hand or my graveyard to the field for doing absolutely nothing. This card is so fucking busted in this deck. It is ridiculous. I don't know how the fuck it's not banned. So next we're going to go into our Martial Metal Marcher. This card allows me, when it's synchro summoned, to be able to target 1 tuner in my graveyard and special summon it, but this is the effect that we're after. a synchro monster that used this card as a material is treated as a tuner monster while face up on the field. That gives us a free tuner synchro monster. Well, basically just a free tuner monster. That's what you're looking for. The synchro part really doesn't matter, but the fact that a synchro monster becomes a tuner, which allows you to go into your even bigger boss monsters, is just fantastic. So next we're going to Herald of Arclight. This is one of our Omni Negates. This card ties very well with this deck because it is so easy to go into any level of synchro. As you can tell, I have ranging from all the way from 1 all the way up until level 10. So this deck is a 1 to 10 range synchro deck, which is pretty crazy to me. Or technically 2 to 10 range because you can't have a level 1 synchro card. But anyways, we're going to go into our Cupid Pitch. This card is going to allow us to either decrease or increase its level depending on the card that I use to synchro summon it with, which more than likely you're always going to decrease its level. That's what I've always done. It allows you to go into your Celestial Double if you're not able to go into it already, which probably won't ever happen because you're always going to have Junk Synchron and Doppel tokens on the field. So anyways, the main effect that you really want to get out of this card is when you synchro summon with it, like as in synchro summoning this card, you can add 1 level 8 or lower monster with 600 defense from my deck to my hand, which is going to be any of my level 2 cards. Like, it's so crazy. You're never going to need to search Junk Synchron because this deck is literally searching Junk Synchron all the time. He's not going to be your target with Cupid Pitch. Your target for Cupid Pitch is either always going to be Junk Converter, or it's going to be one of your Doppel or your little crow guys here. So next we're going to move on to our Junk Speeder. This is what allows us to activate our Synchro Overtake and allows us to special summon Junk Synchron from either our deck or our graveyard. Next we're going to go into our TG Hyper Librarian. This is the literal most draw powered card I have ever seen in my freaking life. And the fact that it's not a once per turn draw effect is absolutely busted to me. If a monster is synchro summoned, draw 1 card. That's literally the effect. That's literally the effect. This card is nothing but synchro summoning all the time, balls to the wall, all day, every day. Usually I can get a +8 in card advantage on average, which usually means I'm drawing my Crossout Designator, my Called By, or my Infinite Impermanence because all of my other cards have already been searched. So next, we're going to go into our Excel Synchron. This card is going to allow us to get a level 1 tuner. Because you're decreasing its level, you're always going to use your Stardust Synchron here to summon our Excel Synchron, which is going to get us to our Celestial Double. So next we're going to go into our Junk Speeder, one of the most broken cards ever released. If this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon as many Synchron tuners as possible with different levels from your deck. That's always going to be your Jet Synchron, your Junk Synchron, and your Stardust Synchron. Stardust Synchron's effect will activate when it's special summoned with Junk Speeder, which is going to allow us to get into our Stardust Illumination and just keep going. So next we're going to go into our Stardust Charge Warrior. The reason why I say it like that is just, I've always had a thing of calling it the Charge Warrior. He looks lit, he's covered in fucking lightning. He's not the Charge Warrior, bro, he's the Charge Warrior. But anyways, usually what you're going to do is summon your TG Hyper Librarian, then summon your Stardust Charge Warrior as a free pot of greed at the end of your combo. Your Stardust Charge Warrior is usually going to be the last card you summon. It's a free pot of greed on top of all the other draws that you've already gotten, because when this card is synchro summoned, you could draw 1 card. Well, when a card is synchro summoned, you can draw a card. So it's literally a free interactive pot of greed with these 2 cards. So next we're going to go into our Yazi, Evil of the Yang Zing. The reason why I use this card is it's a going second card, it's a free pop card, and I can summon the Mare straight from my deck, which allows me to go into even more synchro summoning because Mare's effect isn't once per turn. So yeah, that's just a huge bonus. Next we're going into our Psyframe Lord Omega. This is going to allow us to hand loop our opponents. If your opponent has a card you know you don't want, it's an RNG based thing, but if you're lucky enough, you could grab the opponent's card that you don't want them to use, banish it for technically 2 turns. So next we're going to go into our Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. This allows us to have our monster negate, and it has the added crazy bonus where if it does battle with a level 5 or higher monster, I get to gain attack equal to that opponent's battling monster, which is just delicious. So next we're going to go into our Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. Usually you're not ever going to want to summon this card because it's a last resort card because you have something like Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. But as a last resort, you summon your Chaotic Ruler and hope and pray to God that one of the excavated cards that you got is Doppel Warrior, Junk Synchron, the Crow guy, or you're just kind of screwed. But like I said, it's a last resort card. You won't ever need to summon it, technically speaking. It's just there if need be. So next we're going to go into our Virtual World Kyubishinshin. This stops all graveyard effects that your opponent has, and it has an added bonus effect where I can choose either one of my opponent's banished monsters or one of my banished monsters and get it back into the deck, or back into the graveyard. That's always going to be our Stardust Synchron because I contribute a card to get a free level 4 Synchro card. Absolutely busted interaction, and then on top of that it has the added effect as well where I can banish 2 other monsters with different original types and attributes just to special summon it back from the graveyard. It's pretty fucking busted. And then our last card is finally going to be Baron Deflower, our pop card once per turn, our Omni Negate once while the card is on the field. It is absolutely delicious. I love this deck so much. I hope you guys are going to enjoy these replays that I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's been me, Shotgun Gameplays, and let's rev it up.